Video. This is a long one. I'm probably going to rant for a while. How to beat the super marathon in The Long Walk. Now, this is going to be a video about the movie The Long Walk. If you don't know the movie The Long Walk, it is top 5 movie of all time. It's not even close. Made me cry. I was panicking the entire time. It's not a horror movie, even though it's categorized as a horror movie. I would say it's a thriller drama, very sad and disgusting. The premise of The Long Walk, he's probably going to explain it in the video, but I'll give a little rundown. One guy from each state. So 50 people participating. They walk until there's one person left. If you go below, I think 3 miles an hour, you get a warning. If you get 3 warnings, you get shot in the head. You lose 1 warning every hour of no warnings. So if you get 3 warnings and you walk 3 hours straight without stopping, you get it wiped clean, right? And you walk until there's one person left. You have to poop while walking, eat while walking, drink water while walking. You can't sleep. So it's basically a fucking battle of attrition until there's one guy left. They also can't fuck with each other. You get warnings for hurting each other before people ask. And if you run off once you're in the walk, you can't leave. You're not allowed to quit. You're in or you're out. And if you're out, that means you're dead. So if they pull your name and you decide to go, right? This is optional, by the way. It's like a dystopian future. So they put their name in a raffle to go. And if they win, they get unseen riches. That's like the prize. The number's never disclosed, but imagine enough money to retire you and your family for the rest of your life and your family's generations. So I said in my head when I watched the movie, like $50 million is what they're getting. They're getting an absurd amount of money.
So imagine that you're so broke that your only choice was to sign up for the deadliest marathon in the world. It's just you, 49 other dudes, and a fat bag of cash if you reach the end. But guess what? Only one player gets to survive. And
what I hate is how casual they are with each other at the start of the movie. I also gotta say spoilers. This is spoilers. I'm going to probably ruin this film for you if you've never seen it. So, maybe if you want to watch the movie and not know what happens, I would leave. Right? Otherwise, you could just watch it after. You're just probably going to know a lot of what happens.
Anyone who stops gets smoked on live
Fucking hate that guy. Fucking hate that guy. I'll rant about him in a minute.
TV. But honestly, surviving this would be easy. And I've got the perfect strategy.
All right. Yeah, this fucking guy. Oh, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy until you get the shits 70 hours in. Until you're 120 miles into walking and you have to fucking take a fat shit and you have 10 seconds to stop and poop. Otherwise, you're going to get a fucking bullet in your head. Okay.
To win the entire thing. So we're here to break.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Break down the mistakes.
Yeah, that kid's a bitch. I'm sorry. Spoiler, you have to be like 18 to participate. Most of the participants are between like 18 and 25 in the film. Nobody's really over like 26, 27, right? This kid, they claim, has snuck into it, and he's like 14. He gets a Charlie horse. He's like, It's like 10 miles in. 10 miles in? Yo, buddy, you should have never signed up. I feel like if you... I feel like if you're signing up for the long walk, you got to think in your head 200 miles. I'm walking from Los Angeles to San Francisco. I'm walking from Philadelphia to Boston. That's what you're in your head. You're going, I'm crossing states right now before I'm the one guy left. You have a Charlie horse 12 fucking miles in, buddy. Eat a banana. Huh.
Made what you
First one dead. Ugh.
should do, and how to beat the endless march in
Chat, how far you think you could walk? That's the let's start out with that. You got to walk until you physically can't anymore. Let's say there's no other people competing. That's going to drive you a bit further, but how far could you walk before stopping? I think I get 100 miles. Gun to my head, I think I get 100 miles. Spoiler alert, it's way further than that in the movie. It's way further than that. What really gets you is like 2 days in, where you're exhausted and you need to fall asleep. So you're kind of like dozing off while you're moving.
the long walk.
She put my name on yellow hearts. I got the open and suck a Gucci Fendi Louis, but I got the open and suck a Gucci Fendi Louis, but I got the open. I got the open and suck a Gucci Fendi Louis, but I got the open and suck a Gucci Fendi Louis, but I got the open. I got the open and suck a Gucci.
Peanut butter. On a calm, breezy morning in Mexico City, the day's peace would be interrupted by the disturbed screams of a man tied to a pole. But you're probably wondering how he got here in the first place. Earlier that month, he had been accused of committing an unthinkable crime to a local woman in the city. Word of his actions spread quickly, angering friends, families, and other locals until a notorious Mexican gang caught wind of the story. For them, justice would not wait for courts and police. They tracked the man down, ripped him out from his house, and dragged him out into the open. They grabbed his hands and bound him tightly so that escape was impossible. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the gang pulled out a tub of peanut butter and began to slather it on his... The man became confused, because while covering somebody in peanut butter is a pretty strange punishment, it's not necessarily painful. However, his confusion would quickly fall into dread when the men brought out two huge pit bulls. He immediately realized what they were trying to do and began pleading for mercy. However, his cries were drowned out by the growls of the snarling dogs. When the animals were unleashed, panic surged through the alleged criminal as he screamed for help. The punishment unfolded brutally. It was a slow spectacle of pain and humiliation. And sadly, his screams fell on deaf ears as locals pretended like nothing was happening. By the time the dogs were pulled back, the man was left broken in a way that couldn't be fixed. The point was made clear. The gang had delivered their brand of justice and sent an unforgettable message that'll live on in the heart of Mexico City for years. Vile acts against the vulnerable in this city will not be tolerated. 49. On May 12th, 2012, a man in Cadereyta, Jimenez decided to step out of his home for a quick beverage. The evening was warm and calm. It was the kind of night where nothing out of the ordinary was really expected. As the man walked along the highway, the dim lights cast long shadows across the road. Out of nowhere, the man would stumble across what sort of looked like a strange log just lying to the left of the pavement. He barely paid it any mind, stepping past it. Moments later, he saw another one, then another, with each log carrying a foul, nauseating stench that clung to the air. The smell was strong enough to stop the man from walking any further. Confused, he decided to inspect the objects. He crouched closer, squinting at the twisted shapes in the dark. What at first looked like a bunch of discarded stick bundles on the highway slowly revealed themselves as something far more horrifying than expected. The man recoiled in terror. They weren't logs. They were human bodies. 49 bodies scattered across the road. They were men and women, stripped of their dignity. Each of them were missing their heads, hands, and feet. The music was so precise and brutal that it was nearly impossible to tell who they once were. Some of the people were stuffed into plastic bags, and others dumped carelessly onto the roadside. The man's breath quickened as his mind struggled to process the scale of what he was seeing. A sense of dread swept over him as he realized he had stumbled upon a... In that moment, the silence of the night felt oppressive. The road transformed into a grotesque stage of terror. Later, authorities would confirm what many feared. This was the work of Los Zetas, one of Mexico's most violent cartels. The bodies were left as a chilling message in an ongoing war for control of smuggling routes into the United States. By dawn, the site was swarmed with police and soldiers with their flashlights cutting through the dark as they documented the carnage. Officials were able to arrest the perpetrator of the tragedy, Daniel Jesus Elizondo Ramirez, more formally known as El Loco. This is just one of many atrocities that happen in Mexico because of wars like these. And if there's one thing that's true about these conflicts, it's that the innocents will always be the ones who have to pay. May their souls rest in peace. The Ghost Rider Incident. The CJNG is one of the most powerful and dangerous cartels in Mexican history. The United Cartels is a coalition that was formed in opposition to their control. And on a sweltering afternoon deep in cartel territory, a notorious man known as the Ghost Rider, in allegiance with the United Cartels, would find himself in the grip of one of Mexico's most feared criminal organizations. You see, Ghost Rider got his peculiar name from his horrific reputation. He was known for setting his victims ablaze and leaving them out in the open to be discovered. However, now that he was captured and surrounded by the CJNG, his fate became sealed long before cameras even started rolling. This cartel was not content with simply eliminating a rival. They wanted to carve a message into the eyes of each